All right, cyber traders, good morning and welcome on back here this Wednesday, October 27th, nearing Halloween, nearing the end of the month, of course. Great to see all of us live inside Cyber Group. Got George, got Leda, Deb, John, Bobby, got Skip, Deb W, and all of us otherwise live inside the Cyber Group trading room. And of course, if you're joining us once again on Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. So, of course, my name is not Fausto Pugliese, if you can tell by the voice. My name is Josh Levitan. If you don't really follow us more in the afternoons, I do the afternoon meeting for us at 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. But I'm covering for Fausto this morning. He was just running a little late. He'll be in very shortly, but he gave me the quick text at 8:55, just saying, "Hey, you got to do the quick meeting for do the meeting for me pretty quick." So no problem. With that in mind, though, let's get right to it. A couple of stocks moving this morning in pre-market, and yeah, I'll tell you what. Personally, coming off the afternoon meeting yesterday, I didn't really have the best market close. I got some of the profits that I had from earlier in the morning get chipped away at again, but we had a pretty volatile afternoon. And for the stocks that I ended up trading, although it didn't work out, the stocks that a lot of us in the trading room called out, you folks ended up picking the right stock there, the TRKA, I think it was, and that ended up making a really nice run up. So we'll talk all about that here coming up right now. The fun stock to begin, just up about 21% for the meantime, making a higher low, bouncing roughly from like 520-ish. Wouldn't shock me by the time the market opens up to see it pull back down to 5, perhaps even lower. But just to make a lower high and for it to come back down. In fact, right now, I don't know if you could see it on the ask. He's popping in and out, and he was a bit bigger just a moment ago. I don't know if we ended up seeing some prints get filled at 5:30, but I saw just about like a 20, 30,000 share order sitting right at that price. So that could be where we have a bit of resistance coming up. Up there we go. So it's actually about 50,000 shares if you look close. Yep. All right, cool. Good timing. Well, either way, fun. We've had a lot of fun on this stock, not if you're swing trading it, but as a day trade, it's been a really good opportunity on the way up. You can't short it. So, if you're able to short fun, it would be like a gold mine, so to say. But I'll tell you what, there's another stock yesterday that we were able to short in theory. And, I know a couple of us were able to get it, but a little bit later on, this OCGN, what the hell happened here? This OCGN stock, and you can't even tell by looking at this chart the way I have it, but the hell happened to OCGN? So this stock from even or from Monday close ended up making a huge spike up off of given news regarding their vaccine. The WHO, I think, and ended up, and I'm probably going to get the full storyline wrong here, but probably ended up, I think they ended up approving it. Then there was something to do with them looking into it a bit further. That was the generic headline that came out. Let's see any follow up this morning. So it shows here from 6:35 Eastern time, at least, OCGN, Ocugen Inc. Announces submission of investigational new drug application with the FDA to initiate a phase 3 clinical trial. So they're going right to phase 3 already. I find that to be pretty significant. But it's evaluating their COVID-19 vaccine candidate, Covaxin. So that's the latest I have on this trade. But man, for such a nice run up that we had back on Monday night into Tuesday, and for the pop that we had Tuesday morning, we started off traders talk just out of nowhere, like boom. And I don't think that snap was good enough for you to even hear. Like, I'm a lefty, so pardon me there. That was with my right finger. But nonetheless, you could see this stock ended up getting crushed, getting halted, I think like three separate times at least, if not maybe even four. And then heading into the afternoon, just normally for a stock like this that's as heavily traded, coming off of as many halts, it's going to be definitely more exhausted than not. So we put it on the watch list in hopes of this giving us another opportunity either way, but it just flattened out. Now it's to say this morning though, hey, we're going to try and repeat the process. We're going to try and follow up on this trade again this morning. It's basically like break even right now from yesterday's close, up 0.11%. But nonetheless, we'll keep this on our list here. It'll probably be near the bottom of our watch list by the end of it all. But it's still shortable, still extremely tradable in both directions. Now, as I say that, this is not a level 1 stock. As a newly enrolled student here joining Cyber Trading University, hey, we have the phase 1 stock course this morning. We're not going to be talking about scanning the market per se. We'll be talking more about chart patterns, talking about Fausto flags and pennants, head and shoulders. There we go, Rich, with the post with the link in the chat board right now. But it's to say though otherwise that we want to make sure that you folks are not only following stocks that have consistently tight spreads and good volume on the book, which is exactly what this has. I mean, that checks out perfect. But this thing just was getting halted 3 or 4 times yesterday. You never know what could happen on a stock like this. It's to say, especially coming off a day just like this. So, hey, history has a tendency to repeat itself. I just wouldn't want any of our inexperienced new traders to jump into something that they just are biting off more than they could handle. So, it's all right to admit that, because there are other stocks that you could easily trade and make as good enough money on, if not more, stocks that just give you a better read. The name of this business is to make money. The name of this business is not to trade the wackiest stock out there. I'll tell you what, there's a stock I'm in right now, albeit it's the top percent gainer currently. It's a stock that was like relatively slower moving. And for that reason alone, and another reason I'll mention coming up, I ended up jumping in. So we'll actually get to that here coming up. But yeah, the OCGN for the meantime, if you're a level 3 trader and above, I'd say this would be a great stock for you. It would be a great stock. All right. Let's see. RJF asking here, is it the KAVL? I don't know, if what's moving up or down here live at the time. It shows CXDC, so that's what I was referring to. So we'll go right from top to bottom for any of the other stocks that ended up making big moves. Hey, a lot of those now are on the losers list, actually, like the IINN, BIMI, TRKA. Those are all stocks we did pretty well on yesterday. We'll get to them in a bit. But we'll scan right from top to bottom right now. The CXDC is the stock I'm in. Now, here's the thing. Yesterday, I had a whole bunch of tech issues. I got here early, made sure that was squared away. I was taken care of on that front. So I start scanning, I start lining up. The CXDC I obviously wrote down. It was on the top of the gainers list at the time. But it was pulling back. It was dropping off. So I have no business with this stock unless if it ends up pulling down to a big support level. So I didn't have my eyes on this, actually. I want to give a big shout out to Rich L here, in our office, one of our members here in the trading room, one of our moderators. Out of nowhere, he just says, hey, check out the CXDC. It's at $1. He posted it in our Telegram channel, the pre-market trading channel there that we have now. And right away, the second I looked at it, it was already under $1. It already broke under $1, right back over it. It was at 101. So I jumped in on the bid. Thankfully, I got a handful of shares right off of 100, or right off of 100, right off of $1 here, rather. For right now, it's pushing up. I scaled out 3/5 of my position. I took some out at 108. I took another 1,000 out at 113, and I'm going to ride with the rest right now, and maybe I'll just get out if it ends up popping up a little bit faster here coming up. But this was an awesome pre-market trade. Uh-oh. See, this is where my paranoia kicks in for all of us live inside the trading room. You got Peter here saying lost audio. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? I thought I was good. All right. Imagine now why I have paranoia. There you go. So we're good. But for right now, yeah, CXDC definitely going to put on the main list. I don't know what the news is out or what news is out as to why the stock is up so much, but I just thought off $1 that was such a strong setup. Did anyone jump in this trade right off $1 with me here? I called it out relatively quick, but it hung over $1 for like a few minutes after. There was plenty of time, I think, for you to get in. Just by chance, did anyone jump in this one? I know that more of us were focused on the fund trade, PHUN. Wendy says no. Brian says was filling coffee. All right. Well, I get caught with that every now and then if I'm working from home. So no sweat. We got plenty of time left in this day, folks. Not only for this stock, but for plenty of others. So it's all good. But you just goes to show, got to trust good old whole numbers. That's it. Like $1. There you go, Mike, one of our new gold students. There we go. He got about 6 cents on it. Got in from 107 out at 113 for $1 stock. That's a good trade. That's a good trade, Mike. I'm getting more than I thought I was going to be able to get on this stock, and I scaled out. So, you can't be perfect on any trade. It's just a matter of grabbing what you feel you're comfortable grabbing. So that's a good one. I like that. All right, so let's keep it going. RJF guessed here the KAVL a moment ago, so that wasn't it. But the stock was the top percent gainer early in the morning after 8 o'clock. We also called this one out early on, live inside the trading room. This is, but nonetheless, this stock built such a nice trend up. Of course, it's going to pull back, but I don't think it even hit 4. Nah, it moved up to a high of like even 383, not even 93. So, who knows? Maybe this will look to build support here, push up, maybe break the trend line off the highs later on, and then, eventually run up to test that whole number off 4. Just food for thought. It's just a thought. I don't know if it's going to happen, but nonetheless, this stock easily enough we're going to put on our list the KAVL, just great liquidity, cheap. Got a huge iceberg there at 3. 110,000 share iceberg order sitting up top. I'm going to tell you what, I had a pretty crap afternoon yesterday. I just closed out on the CXDC at 121 right now. Just clocked out on the last 2,000 that I had. I don't want to be a jerk and go through this meeting and then for it to make some wacky spike down and then for me to lose the remaining profit that I had, and the profit chipped away at from the afternoon yesterday. So it's a start. GHSI though, hey, nice push up on this. It seems like it ended up holding support over 150, really 155, making the push up here towards the VWAP, and you could see an iceberg order here. It's 179, about 26,000 shares. So for right now, yeah, GHSI, very similar territory as the KAVL, as the CXDC, just cheap and great volume on the order book. So, it'll just create a good opportunity for us to follow at the open. The FAMI trade. We're actually familiar with this stock, just looking at the daily chart. This thing's been all over the map lately, but right now making a spike up just prior to 9 o'clock. Right now, not a whole lot happening after. So I'd rather focus on others first, but maybe we'll keep this in mind later on. All right, another one, REDU. Right, another squeeze up here, this time breaking over 150. I got a bunch of late prints coming in here. I don't know if these are late prints or just natural dark pools, but either way, try and track the volume if there's any big prints that get filled. But this stock making a very similar push as the KAVL and the GHSI. I don't know if they're all in the same business. I'll be honest, I'm a little too ignorant right now to check because it's to say that that doesn't make my decision to enter a trade or not. The news out on CXDC didn't lead me to jump in at a buck. It was simply the fact it was coming down to a whole number support level, and we know that there's an iceberg order there. If my best entries to buy a stock are directly after it breaks through a big level on the way up, and that's my whole catchphrase. That's all I'm focused on, folks. So, it sounds ignorant, and it is, but if they're all moving up for the same reason, great. I'm just not going to check. We got too little time right now. Ooh, fun making that pull back down to 5. That's what I was thinking would happen, if not even lower. See what happens after the open. If not, maybe even like a 480, 475 could be a nice bounce level under 5. I'll tell you what, if you follow me in the afternoon meetings here, you know that I normally fill up my water bottle here before I start. I did not. I'm running on E right now. All right, precious water sip right there. Let's keep it going. Let's see what else we got. DGLY, a stock that we are really familiar with, at least. Unfortunately, not really making the move that we want it to make, at least yet. But the way it looks like it'll just kind of continue to dump off once the market opens up here, just like a pop and drop type of move. I don't know what the news is out on this stock. This stock, or a company for that matter, is the company that makes the body cameras for all the police officers or whomever out there. And nonetheless, I mean, the stock's been in the news recently and a number of years back. I don't know what news came out today. It may have even just been earnings, but either way, it's up 7.5%. And it's cheap, has good volume on the order book. By all measures, this stock is tradable, but the way that CXDC looks, KAVL, the others first, I'd rather trade those. So we'll kind of skip over this for right now, see if there's anything else moving better. SOL, not Solana, the crypto. You knew I had to say that. Nah, the stock's pretty spotty. All right, let's see what else we got on the gainers side. Then we'll hop over to the losers list. We got like a few stocks that are down like 40-50% again this morning. We might have a really fun morning, not just in terms of like these stocks on the gainers list, but if you folks recall, a couple weeks back we had the AVIR right before the trader summit that we had last week. I think that was just dating back to last Monday. So as we hop over to the losers list here, the CRTX, man, this stock got crushed, down 69%. From like 55 seemingly down to sub 15, whatever this is at the after hours low. 1260 looks like, maybe even lower. I don't know. Yeah, 1260 it looks like. I mean, either way, the stock is shortable. It's down enough to where, hey, it wouldn't shock me if it ends up making the squeeze up, the dead cat bounce up, and then for it to drop off. So, either way, the stock provides really good opportunity as a day trade. for right now, I'd say the same on this as I said on the fund stock, and certainly a couple of these others. Well, actually, I think it was the OCGN. But it's to say that this stock, looking at the liquidity, it's not really that filled in. Spreads kind of fluctuating up and down here in pre-market. I'd assume for that to be the case after the market opens up. As a newly enrolled student, as an inexperienced trader here joining us live inside our trading room, it's okay to admit if you're inexperienced. I just don't want you to get your ass kicked on this stock when you could have an easier time trying to follow the CXDC, off, hole number one that we called out. Much more controlled stock, tighter spread, better liquidity for you to find the icebergs. So, that's all, but definitely more is like a level 4 trade, even the CRTX I'll put on the watch list. I mean, I don't know why Bimi's down so much, but you could say the same on this with the spread and volume. I like this one more. So Bimi, why not? Former runner from yesterday, the IINN. So, this is one that ended up making a nice push up into the close. So I did not trade this one or watch this into the afternoon myself, but a few of us did. And you folks were the ones that were able to jump in on this trade once it broke over like 750-ish and $8 here on the way up. Right around 3:30 Eastern time, 3:45. And of course, from earlier, we are in this trade and calling it out. But yeah, for right now, what makes the top percent gainers list typically makes the percent losers list the following day, or if it's not that day, then it's gonna be the day after. TRKA, this stock into the close got halted on the way up, reopened up, and made the slingshot up higher. So that's what I was referring to. I was following the OCGN at that time. I was following also the NXTD and the Prague stock. The Prague, unfortunately, was pretty freaking disappointing. I'll tell you what, right now, Prague, although probably not going to put on the main list, I'll easily put this on our side list going into the market open. Wouldn't shock me if this ends up making the move that we wanted it to make yesterday, the break over 397 and 4. We had it, but then it weakened, and then it kind of flopped back down, and we knew what was coming after. So unfortunately, it ended up failing. But hey, we've been following this stock for so long now. It wouldn't shock me if it ends up making that move, and then we'll be able to try and jump in. All right, looks like Grant says here the Genius trade, which we did note. We noted that Genius is currently halted. Genius Brands, a stock that we were watching back on Monday and then going into yesterday morning briefly, but news pending. So not volatility halt. It's to say, though, that there's some sort of news that came out. I'll tell you what, real small story. Hey, hand up, truthful story here, folks. Thankfully, it's not me. It's like one of my best friends. So, when this happened back in 2000 or mid last year, you get a bunch of people trying to make money, coming off the Reddit debacle, and then, really just coming off the pandemic, everyone trying to kind of focus more on the stock market to supplement their income. And I got a buddy who does pretty well, works, finance, and he just doesn't really know what to do with day trading. He has a lot of money to trade with, but he also gets very, antsy, very, I don't want to say addictive personality, but that's kind of the case. That's just a negative label to put on him. Long story short, he jumped into the Genius trade here when we called it out this week. This is a weekly chart, not a daily, but long story short, you got in from like $4, 350, whatever the hell it was, and just held on. So, just simple lesson there, folks. Just if you truly don't know as to why a stock is making the exact intraday move that it's making, then it wouldn't be worth it to hold on. You could always get back in if it ends up making another run up. So, with that much money on the line, he had a ton of shares. Close to 10,000. But it's to say today, it got halted for news pending. The first thing that I did personally was give him a call. I said, hey, you got to keep your head on a swivel right now. If this thing opens up and like freaking runs up to 6 or 5, get out. Just get the hell out, and that's it. So, you know what? I appreciate the reminder on this, Grant, because he just wrote in the chat board calling for positive news after the halt. I didn't follow up on Benzinga Pro on this, but yeah, I mean, halted news pending. We're familiar with the stock. If it's bad news and it tanks, then probably not going to make for as great of a trade on the way back up. But if it's good news, then we definitely want to keep this in mind. So yeah, we'll put this on the main list for right now. All right, folks. 8:20 or it's 8. Geez, this is throwing me off right. This is throwing me off right here. First, I thought I read this as 9:24. I'm like, oh my God, we're getting close to the market open. It's currently 9:20. We got about 10 minutes till the market opens up, folks. We got the CXDC trade moving up a bit higher, which is great. That's fine. I have no problem leaving money on the table. It's a great start anyway. We have another 6.5 hours ahead of us, just about here. All right, and then also we got class coming up. So for all of us live inside the cyber group room, more so our bronze students and above, you folks have the invite to our class coming up at 10:30 Eastern this morning. We'll be talking all about high probability charting patterns, Fausto flags, pennants, head and shoulders, higher highs, lower lows, and everything else in between. But otherwise, though, folks, we'll be back on the mic here live inside the trading room coming up in just about 10 or so minutes. We'll talk to you then.